That's all right, I got it.
Good evening. The June 7th, 2023 council meeting of the Long Branch City Council will now come to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler?
Here.
Mr. Viera?
I'm here.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Here.
Mrs. Wittes?
Here. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to have a moment of silence in remembrance of assignment judge Lisa Thornton. She was a resident of, she grew up in Long Branch. She passed away May 27th, and she was an amazing person for all those who had the honor of knowing her. So I'd like to take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. She's truly going to be missed by all. Okay, certification, please.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspaper in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and posted as required by law.
Thank you. And at this time, we have two presentations. I'd like to invite the Long Branch School District to come forward, please.
Good evening, Council. If it pleases you, we have student representatives here, and they'll introduce themselves.
I'm Hatton Hussey, Veva.
Alexa Frederick, she, her. Alfonso Machado.
Whereas the city of Long Branch is home to people of all backgrounds, including those who identify as LGBTQ+, and whereas while our city, state, and nation have come a long way in our journey towards dignity, understanding, acceptance, inclusive, and mutual respect for all, we still have a long way to go in eradicating the prejudice and discrimination that LGBTQ+ people face every day. And whereas LGBTQ+ people transcend across all races, nationalities, cultures, and ethnicities, and whereas each year, whereas each year in June marks the anniversary of the Stonewall Rebellion that gave birth to the modern movement to advance the rights of LGBTQ+ persons, and those committed to justice and equality celebrate during the month of June the notable achievements and outstanding service that LGBTQ+ Americans make for our city, state, and nations. And
Whereas June has been recognized since 1970 by our country. 1 year after Stonewall Rebellion took place on June 28, 1969. To commemorate the impact the movement has had on society, and 2023 marks the 54th anniversary of Stonewall, an important milestone in the history of our country. And whereas during the month of June, throughout the nation, numerous organizations, government, and others recognize the rights of LGBTQ+ persons during Pride celebrations throughout the world.
Thank you.
Whereas the people of Portugal and their culture have influenced the world for centuries, from their pioneering voyages to the New World to their significant contributions to the arts and humanities. And whereas Portuguese immigrants began arriving in the United States in relatively large numbers beginning in 1870. And whereas among the great Portuguese Americans who have contributed significantly to this country are composer John Philip Sousa, best known for composing The Stars and Stripes Forever, and poet Emma Lazarus, best known for her sonnet about the Statue of Liberty. And whereas the United States Census Bureau estimates that over 76,000 citizens in New Jersey identify as Portuguese and Portuguese American. And whereas Portuguese national literary icon Luís Vaz de Camões wrote Portugal's national epic poem Os Lusíadas, celebrating the 15th century Portuguese explorations that brought fame and fortune to the country. And whereas Dia de Portugal de Camões e das Comunidades Portuguesas, translated as Day of Portugal, Camões and the Portuguese Communities, commemorates the death of Luís Vaz de Camões on June 10, 1580. Now therefore, the mayor and the city council of the city of Long Branch hereby proclaim June 2023 as Portuguese Month in the city of Long Branch to celebrate the Portuguese people, language, and culture, and to acknowledge the significance of the state of New Jersey and the United States of America.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you.
job. Thank you. I need a motion to approve the minutes of May 24th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. Consideration of ordinance, public hearing, and final consideration. 0-13-23, a calendar year 2023 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. NJSA 40A 4-45.14. This ordinance was introduced on May 10, 2023, which establishes a cap bank, NJS 40A 4-45.1, provides that in the appropriation of its annual budget, a municipality shall limit any increase in said budget to 2.5% unless authorized by ordinance to increase it to 3.5% over the previous year's final appropriations, subject to certain exceptions. NJSA 40A 4-45.15a provides that a municipality may, one authorized by ordinance, appropriate the difference between the amount of its actual final appropriation and the 3.5% percentage rate as an exception to its final appropriations in either of the next two succeeding years. This ordinance allows for appropriation increases above the 2.5%. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If any member of the public has any comments to make, please come to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record. You'll have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Carlos Shaken. I live on 171 Second Avenue, Long Branch.
Are you here to, I'm sorry, sir, are you here to speak on this ordinance with the cap bank then? No. The public portion for any other issues will be coming up, I'll let you know. Thank you.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'm-
I need a motion to
I don't
close.
think so.
So moved.
I don't even know.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is the second reading of ordinance 13-23 entitled A Calendar Year 2023 Ordinance to Exceed the Municipal Budget Appropriation Limits and to Establish a Cap Bank, NJSA 40A 4-45.14. I need a motion to adopt on second and final reading and advertise according to law.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. 0-14-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 297, Streets and Sidewalks by amending subsection 297-2, discharge of liquids of the Code of the City of Long Branch. This ordinance was introduced on May 24th, 2023, and amends Chapter 297, Streets and Sidewalks by including residential properties under Section 2, discharge of liquids. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If any member of the public has any comments to make, please come to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
On this ordinance only.
Yes, on this ordinance. I see no one. Okay, I need a motion to close.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is the second reading of ordinance 14-23, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 297, Streets and Sidewalks by amending subsection 297-2, discharge of liquids of the Code of the City of Long Branch. I need a motion to adopt on second and final reading and advertise according to law.
So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. 0-15-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 293, Solid Waste and Recycling by amending subsection 293-5, Dumpsters, and creating subsection 293-6, Privately Owned Dumpsters, Containers of the Code of the City of Long Branch. This ordinance was introduced on May 24, 2023, and amends Chapter 293, Solid Waste and Recycling by amending Section 5 to Municipal Dumpster Service and creating subsection 6, Privately Owned Dumpsters, Roll-Off Containers, subsection 6.1, Definitions, subsection 6.2, Permit Required, subsection 6.3, Application for Permit Fee, Refusal of Permit, subsection 6.4, Duration of Posting of Permit, subsection 6.5, Miscellaneous Provisions, subsection 6.6, Other Types of Storage Containers Prohibited on Streets or Roadways, and subsection 6.7, Violations. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
If any member of the public has any comments to make on this ordinance, please come to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once. I see none. I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is the second reading of ordinance 15-23, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 293, Solid Waste and Recycling by amending subsection 293-5, Dumpsters, and creating subsection 293-6, Privately Owned Dumpsters, Containers of the Code of the City of Long Branch. I need a motion to adopt on second and final reading and advertise according to law.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. An ordinance amending Chapter 325 Vehicles and Traffic by amending subsection 325-3 Parking of the Code of the City of Long Branch. This ordinance was introduced on May 24, 2023, and amends Chapter 325 Vehicles and Traffic by amending subsection 3 Parking by adding language that does not allow semi-trailers or trailers of any kind to be parked on any street, roadway, or alley within the city limits. It is hitched to a truck or vehicle capable of moving it in a normal manner upon the public streets or roadways. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If any member of the public has any comments to make, please come to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
So I can't speak again?
No, this is just on this ordinance.
On this
Okay.
ordinance. Mhm.
My name is Jill Scatelli. I live at 551 High Street, Long Branch. I've called the police on many occasions because there has been a tow truck, a long bed tow truck, parked in front of my house. It has damaged my curbs, and they have done nothing to help me. So this ordinance is so that they are not allowed clearly to park on the street, correct?
Yeah, it depends on what you're asking. So I don't know who's parking there, but sometimes when the police are looking at them, if they're in service, for
No.
whatever reason, on call, in service. Yeah, if you want, you can call me, I'll look it up for you and I'll find out what's going on.
Okay, the guy lives in Woodrow Wilson.
Okay.
And I live on High Street.
Okay.
And when he goes home, he brings the tow truck home with him.
Okay.
And he leaves it parked on the street. Well, I called his business because the police didn't help me and I threatened them, and so far he hasn't parked there anymore.
Well,
But in the
I'll give you
meantime,
my card and just give me a call and I'll look at it.
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion to close.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is the second reading of ordinance 16-23, entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 325 Vehicles and Traffic by amending subsection 325-3 Parking of the Code of the City of Long Branch I need a motion to adopt on second and final reading and advertise according to law.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. Ordinances for introduction. This is the first reading of ordinance 0-17-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 345 zoning by amending the following subsections. 1. 345-10 permitted modifications and exceptions. 2. 345-11 additional provisions. 3. 345-27 R8 Boulevard Mixed District. 4. 345-35 HTLI High Technology Light Industrial. 5. 345-42 Off-Street Parking Regulations. 6. 345-102 R1 One Family Residential Zone District. 7. 345-112 C1 Central Commercial Zone District. And 8. 345-14 C3 Neighborhood Commercial Zone District. The purpose of this ordinance is to adopt the recommendations contained in the 2020 Master Plan, reexamination, and the 2021 Annual Zoning Board recommendations, and amends the city's zoning ordinance. The following changes are proposed to the city's zoning ordinance. 1. Removes the exception to front yard setback requirements in residential areas and sets standards to permit walkways in residential zones. 2. Eliminates the R-8 Boulevard Mixed District and zoning for high technology light industrial. 3. Amends parking requirements in the R4 residential district to allow for a 5-foot setback requirement for driveways or other parking areas instead of the required 10-foot requirement. And 5. Amends the front yard setback requirements in the one-family residential district from 70 feet to 35 feet and provides for a minimum setback requirement in C1 Central Commercial Zone District and C3 Neighborhood Commercial Zone District. I need a motion to introduce on first reading and advertise and post according to law and set the public hearing for June 21st.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. This is the first reading of ordinance 0-18-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 325, Vehicles and Traffic, by amending subsection 325-30, Schedule V, parking time limited on certain streets of the Code of the City of Long Branch. This ordinance amends parking time limited on certain streets, certain portions of Broadway, and on the north side will be designated 2-hour parking from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 2nd Avenue will be 2-hour parking on the east side between Broadway and Belmont. I need a motion to introduce on first reading, advertise, and post according to law, and set the public hearing for June 21st, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. This is the first reading of ordinance 0-19-23, an ordinance amending Chapter 244, parking lots and meters. Attachment 1, Schedule A, metered parking areas of the Code of the City of Long Branch. This ordinance amends Attachment 1, Schedule A, metered parking areas of Chapter 244, metered parking areas. I need a motion to introduce on first reading, advertise, and post according to law, and set the public hearing for June 21st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. Public hearing on the 2023 Long Branch municipal budget. I need a motion to open the public hearing on the 2023 municipal budget.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If any member of the public has a comment to make, please, regarding the 2023 municipal budget, please come to the podium and state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
Question before I speak. Isn't the presentation by the Chief Financial Officer supposed to take place first, before the floor is opened?
No, it's afterwards.
So the public comments on the budget And then the presentation for the budget by the CFO takes place after the comment. In all the years I've been here, that's never been the case. Since 2003, it's never been that way.
Why are we not showing it? Huh? Russ, did you hear? Why are we not showing the presentation first?
Well, I had it like that, and then Mr. Lepore called me and made me look at what Kathy did prior, and I did, and she had it on the beginning of the meeting, right underneath the certification by clerk.
Well, why don't we show it?
It's not the clerk's fault. It's not the clerk's fault. I called the clerk
Okay, hold
because
on,
there was an
Mr.
amended budget, and the amended
you wanted
budget
to see it,
resolution
we'll
was
be
not
happy
put in
to
the
show it
consent
right now.
agenda.
So I guess you don't want to see it right now.
Stop speaking for me. Speak for yourself.
I'm asking you if you would.
I'm
like
making
to
a
see
point of order that's been here since 2003. You put an amended resolution in that wasn't open to the public. I called the clerk for a correction on that. The clerk was correct in what she did, and it was understood that the presentation would take place before the public questioning.
So there was a mix-up, and we'll be happy to show it right now.
No, there was no mix-up by the
Would you like
clerk.
to see it?
There was no mix-up by the clerk. The mix-up on the dates that I found and the mix-up on the order of the resolutions was by the CFO. That's why it's very important that the presentation take place before public comment.
Okay, so.
Mr. Lepore, we're going to show it right now, so please watch it.
Good evening. This is a presentation of the 2023 City of Long Branch municipal budget. In comparing the municipal tax rate over the last 3 years, you can see the city has been going down in rate each year. The municipal portion of your tax bill is approximately 37%. The school district portion is 46%. Monmouth County taxes is 14%, and 2% goes to fund library operations. The average assessed value of homes in Long Branch has been increasing steadily over the past several years. The average residential assessment has gone up from $502,000 to almost $700,000. The overall valuation of the city has increased by over $2 billion in the last 3 years. While assessments have increased 37%, the tax on the average residential home has only increased by 6.8%. Departmentally, the budget is spent as follows. Over $18.5 million is spent on public safety. Public Works is the second largest department, spending over $7.5 million. General administration, statutory expenditures, insurance, recreation, and other departments make up the rest of the budget. A summary of the city's appropriations is as follows. Other expenses account for 46% of the total budget. Salaries and wages account for 39% of the budget. Debt service is 10%, and the reserve for uncollected taxes is approximately 3% of the budget. This year, the Long Branch City budget comes in at a total of $69,745,586. Let's see where all that money comes from. 63% comes from property taxes that are raised in the levy. About 12% comes from local revenues such as beach fees, parking fees, and other licenses and permits. 6% comes from state aid, and the balance comes from delinquent taxes, library taxes, and other miscellaneous sources. There are two calculations that the state requires us to do, appropriation cap and tax levy cap calculations. This year's budget brings the city of Long Branch $400,000 under the mandatory state levy cap. Capital projects going on around the city consist of a senior center expansion, library renovations, a new health, wellness, and technology center, fire museum, and several major infrastructure improvements throughout the city. The city exercises cost-saving measures in the following ways. Commodity resale of fuel and road salt to 6 municipal entities to aid in defraying the costs of equipment. Shared service agreements for construction official, IT services, finance department, and lifeguard training. Also, the city bids bulk natural gas and electricity to ensure the best possible pricing of city utilities. I want to end with the benefits of living in Long Branch. There are miles of pristine public beaches with the lowest priced seasonal beach badge in the county. Our recreation department offers a multitude of sports and activities at our numerous recreational areas. We have a nationally recognized library, a combined volunteer and full-time paid fire department. We have a very active senior center with over 900 members, a community pool. We are one of only 2 towns in the county operating its own health department. There are multiple art displays and events at our Arts and Cultural Center. And don't forget about our summer concert series with live music 3 times a week. This concludes the 2023 municipal budget presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to apologize. I thought we were going to show it before, so I thank Mr. Lepore for pointing it out. Unfortunately, he chose not to watch it. But again, sorry for the misunderstanding there. We spent a lot of time with it, so we wanted to show it.
So I'm going to
Open the public hearing.
open the public hearing. If any member of the public has any comments to make regarding the 2023 municipal budget, please come to the podium and state your name and your address clearly for the record, and you will have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
Madam Clerk, good evening. I want to thank the clerk for helping me today clarify Resolution 144 and the mistakes in it. Otherwise, this council wouldn't be able to put the budget before the state this week because the dates were incorrect on Resolution 144. The sequence of order in the resolution was confusing. Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch, requesting 1-minute notification. The valuations in this presentation was a joke. Sheet 4A, pilot payments under anticipated revenues, $2,925,000 is anticipated in 2023 when realized in cash. 2022, $2,935,627.37. The matter of the Kushner claim of the newest and most luxurious beachfront condo complex, that being the 30-year tax-abated Pier Village, the disturbing matter of these abatements, the negative impact on tonight's budget, and the discrimination against non-abated taxpayers in this city is again on full display. The city's preferential land assessments at Pier Village 3 are not only affecting revenue, but are also preventing any significant property tax reductions outside of Pier Village. For example, at Pier Village 3, Unit 403, 20 Melrose Terrace, a 902 square foot condo was purchased in 2020 for $603,250. And as I mentioned, eligible for the pilot tax abatement plan. However, the 2023 land assessment on Unit 403 is just $21,300, which translates to only $382 in annual land taxes. So, not only are the 245 units at Pier Village 3 the recipients of preferential assessments on their improvements under the pilot, but we now know that the city is also providing Pier Village 3 with incredulously low land assessments, cheating our schools, the county, and most of all, Long Branch residents. Under New Jersey state law, land assessments cannot be abated, but the city, by fraudulently leaving in place significantly low land assessments from pre-construction, continues to make a mockery of the intent of the state pilot tax program. Shockingly, the highest condo land assessment at Pier Village 3 is only $52,000, with most between $21,000 and $37,000. Compare that to the lowest land assessment for a 910 square foot unit at Harbor Mansion, apartment 2A, that has a 2023 land assessment of $361,000, 17 times the similarly Pier Village 3 Unit 403. Additionally, compared to units at Westwood Village condominiums, which is 3/4 of a mile from the ocean front, there, all unit owners have a uniform $115,000 land assessment, paying land taxes that are 5.5 times what the lowest land assessed units at Pier Village 3 pay. Basing on a comparison of units of similar size, such that Unit 403 at Pier Village 3, Unit 2A at Harbor Mansion, and Unit 9 at Westwood Village are all 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom units at or under 910 square feet. Appallingly, every condo owner at Westwood Village and Harbor Mansion saw an increase in their 2023 land assessments go up by more than the entire 2023 land assessments of similar sized units at Pier Village 3. Even 800 square foot condo units at West End's Coronet Gardens on Sternberger Avenue are all paying taxes on land assessments of $185,000, 8 times more than what similarly sized units pay at Pier Village 3.
1 minute notification.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. In conclusion, it's shamefully inexcusable that the city, which allowed Kushner to lie in his initial request for inclusion in the state's pilot program, allowing Kushner to claim without proof that without public financial assistance, Pier Village 3 could not be economically feasible. That was an outright lie to Long Branch taxpayers, with these continuing preferential, artificially low land assessments at Pier Village 3. I emphasize again, land assessments which carry by far the lowest per square foot land assessments for condos of similarly sized units in the city. I'm requesting a no vote, Resolution 144 and Resolution 145. Council, you failed to produce a 25% property tax reduction plan, as I did on May 10th. Requesting a no vote. Again, I want to thank the clerk for clarifying and correcting the mistakes of the department head on the matter of this budget.
Mr. Mayor, just as usual, Mr. Lepore kind of misses the point with regards to these. The way that pilots work is that depending on what the land value that's assessed, and it doesn't really matter what the land value is assessed because it doesn't change the pilot payment. It's just where you credit it to the pilot payment or to the tax payment. So it doesn't really matter what the land values are. If the land values were $1 million a unit, it wouldn't raise the amount of the pilot payment because the pilot payment essentially fixed. It's a payment in lieu of taxes, so it's a total payment in lieu of taxes. So the other part about it is this: is that and I understand that Mr. Lepore wouldn't understand this because he doesn't understand the way the tax code works. If you put a larger land value on it, that means that portion of the tax that you attribute to the tax, as you can see from the presentation, the county would get a larger portion of it. So normally that's the way it's done. You keep the land values low in the entire pilot payment, and then the county only gets 5% of the pilot payment as opposed to getting whatever the 30% it is that it would get of the land value. So there's nothing unusual about that. It's, once again, it's just, if you want to try to find something wrong, you can do it, but that's the way it works. And I don't know, Mr. Martin, if I kind of misstated it, but it wouldn't change what the pilot payments are one way or the other depending on what the land value is.
Actually, in Pier Village, they get a credit back for what they pay
Correct.
land tax.
Yeah.
So it would actually reduce what the city would get if they paid more land tax.
Correct.
You're correct in your explanation, yes.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, I need a motion to adopt Resolution R-144-23 entitled, "A Resolution Amending the 2023 City of Long Branch Municipal Budget."
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. Now I need a motion to adopt Resolution R-145-23 entitled, "A Resolution Adopting the 2023 City of Long Branch Municipal Budget as Amended."
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. Public participation for all resolutions and all general comments.
Now is the time.
I need a motion to open the public portion of the meeting for all comments.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If there's anyone in the audience that has a comment to make, please step to the podium and state your name and address clearly for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
Hi, my name is Carlos Jacob, J-A-C-O-B. I live at 171 2nd Avenue in Long Branch for 47 years. I live in Long Branch since 92. I bought the property and unfortunately I see the things going down on Long Branch since 1976. I came in August 1976. I don't have too much time, but I'm gonna be short on this. When you come into the office, Mr. Pallone, the first person on Long Branch, and the city of Long Branch, it was me, called Mr. Vieira, where he come from a beautiful family, nice, beautiful father and mother. I have all the respect for him. I do not blame him. I asked him that time, I called him to my house to please communicate to the police, to you, Mr. Pallone, about the traffic on 2nd Avenue. Nothing was done since you come into the office. Until 2 weeks ago, we lost a life on 2nd Avenue, and very close to lost more before. And nobody cared. Nobody listened. Many times I went to your office, I was treated like an immigrant. That means is my accent, the persons, the American people, they talk totally different after they hear my accent. But now, you know, Mr. Pallone, and the rest of the people here, I am an American citizen by choice. I am an American citizen. So I deserve respect and consideration. Every time I go to your office, Mr. Pallone, I have the same problem. I was going to the police station, begging them, please stop these people. And a few days ago, I realized I was wrong judging the police. You know why I was wrong? I was wrong because we are used town right now. Since 1976, we grow. And the police don't have enough police officers on the street. That means, Mr. Pallone, you and your public servants put at risk not only the citizens of this country, but the police officers downstairs. Instead of spending money on pools and this and that, take care of the traffic on 2nd Avenue and the other streets. Thank you for the few signers in there, Mr. Pallone. You come from a wonderful family. I know your family when they still selling cars in there. I bought from them, my brother-in-law, my brother. But you making the wrong decisions since you come in. We shorten the police, about 50 police officers. And these people every day, they go home, some of them they cannot sleep because of the stress. We have enough money in this town to take care of police first, and the streets, and the citizens.
1 minute warning.
And the citizens of this town, this beautiful town. My thing is, immediately, do not happen like the traffic. We have to lose a person in there, a little kid. No. I say immediately, take care of the police, our police department, with radars, everything they need. And another 15 members for our police, so we don't put at risk the citizens of the Long Branch, even the police. Do you know they are human beings too? They have families at home. Some of them, they go home, I just find out, they cannot sleep.
5 minutes.
So you think. Thank you, Mr. Pallone. Thank everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I'm going to ask, we have both our public safety director here and our business administrator has been in law enforcement for 25 years, many of those years in traffic. So I'm going to let one of them to address one of your questions either now or later. But I will tell you this, and maybe we've met before, but I never remember you coming to my office, and I never remember you talking directly to me. And I will tell you that I can speak, sir, for everyone in my office. And if anyone was disrespectful, which I really doubt, then I apologize for that. But I am sorry, sir. That is very important to me, to everyone here, and every single council person.
Sir, you have to sit down.
Yeah,
Your time to
I'm
speak is
sorry.
over.
Correct.
Well, no,
You had your chance.
I didn't interrupt you, sir, yes. And the fact that I come from an immigrant family, my wife is an immigrant, so I mean, I'm a little taken back by your making that comment. Now, I know it wasn't you and me, but.
Me a liar. That's an offense.
I said to you.
That's an offense.
Well, sir,
You're calling me a liar.
I didn't call you a liar. I said,
You should say you have doubts about...
Sir, please.
You have to sit down.
I said to you that I apologize if that happened. What I did say is I seriously doubt that that happened in my office. So you can interpret it the way you want. Well, do you know who you spoke with?
Yes.
Who was it?
Different people in there, like Susan last time. As soon as you start talking, these people, they have the wrong answers. Guess what? They public servants. They work for me, for this, for that, for that, for that, for that. They public servants. They listen to us. We go with the respect to them. I'm 70 years old. I'm going to be 71. And I have respect for everybody. The other way, people on the city of Long Branch, all the departments, they have people with a disrespect to the citizens. I have a brother here, also he was a Warner property, is saying there's respect they show to them. 77 years old.
Rose,
Yeah, sorry,
sir, we can't.
seriously, you had your chance to talk, you have to sit down.
But-
I know, but you have to sit down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I would like just a yes or no answer. Have you ever contacted me directly or asked Susan for me to call you about some of the comments that you're making here? The speeding I understand because we're well aware of the speed
Why the problem was not taken care of 4 or 5 years ago?
I don't know.
You waiting till somebody died? That's what it is? You want to give me another 5
I'm
minutes?
sorry, Rose.
No.
let's-
No, we can't.
If you could stay after, I'd love to talk to you, sir. I would. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay.
Hello. My name is Jill Scatalia. I live at 551 High Street, Long Branch. I've never been to a council meeting, and that should say it all. It's that important to me to get across to everyone my concerns. After the horrific accident on 2nd Avenue, I've noticed some changes, and I appreciate those. There's been the 25 miles per hour, very large signs painted on the street. Today I also noticed that there are some lit up signs that tell you the speed that you're going as you're passing them. But in the meantime, there's one on Franklin Avenue, and there's one all the way down by Sayers Avenue. Do you guys intend to put any more in between? Because that's an awful long stretch between one sign and another for people to get it. People don't get it anymore. They just don't get it. I think it's imperative that you put more signs. I think it would help. I stood on 2nd Avenue today, even with those signs, and I saw a guy, he was with some landscaping company, just flying down 2nd Avenue. There's not enough police presence in any area of the city. I work at Fine Fair Supermarket, and I talk to everybody all day long, 45 hours a week, and they all feel the same way. There is not enough police presence anywhere. Morris Avenue, So I go down Morris Avenue quite often. I had a very good friend who passed away who lived on Morris Avenue, and we would sit on his porch and we would talk. And we would watch the people come from the train station and walk down Morris Avenue. And there would be sometimes 50 people at a time. You've repaved the street, you've put new sidewalks, but you neglected to take into consideration the volume of people that are walking down those streets. Also, there's signs on each side in the middle of the road for bicycles. So the other day, I'm going down Morris Avenue, and here's a family coming towards me on their bicycles. Behind them are 2 cars. They can't get past them because they're in the middle of the road. There's no place for them to go. As I pass them, they're coming this way. The car behind them flew around them to get up to 3rd Avenue. Horrific. Could have been another horrible scene. There's no balance. There's a lot of building, but there's no balance. The streets need to be widened. More security needs to be put on the streets for newcomers, visitors, whatever you want to call them. The streets between Brighton and Bath Avenue. When you're going down, say, Matilda or what's your street? Cottage. When you're looking down towards 2nd Avenue, it looks like a straightaway. Those stop signs are on the corner. They're not highly visible. I've been to other towns where they put those stop signs right smack in the middle of the road. So when the car's pulling up, they can't miss it. It's right there in their face. I think it's very important that these signs be more visible. Let me see. 3rd Avenue. Down by the post office. Oh, dear God. I take a friend of mine's son to school at times. The road is so narrow and so congested. There's kids walking. There's people walking. There's cars everywhere. Everybody's impatient. Nobody wants to wait. And like I said, it's so narrow. That huge building is going up. It's a really dangerous area.
1 minute warning.
3rd Avenue by the train station, there's a lot of vagrants begging all the time. My street, High Street, there's 2 bends that are very dangerous, and people park there. And when I'm going home a lot of times, I have to go onto the other side of the street, and sometimes I almost have a head-on collision. I think it's important that you guys look into, somebody read the comments on Let's Talk Long Branch, because there you'll get the real feel of the way people feel about the things that are going on in this town. These are just a few things that I've got a lot of concerns about, but there's many more. And I think that if you did go and do some research on Let's Talk Long Branch, I think you'd get a lot of ideas. And I know, John, when I call you, you act on it. So I thank you for your time, and I would appreciate any consideration that you could give us. We need more police. We need police walking the streets like they used to. A lady on Let's Talk Long Branch said she went to Dollar General on Broadway. She said the smell of urine and cigarettes was incredible. She had to leave. Not good. Police presence would make a big difference. Thank you so much.
Jill, I don't know, Director, did you want to mention, we have increased the police force, Jill, from, what was it, 85 to 92 in the last year, which it's been at the highest in how many years?
10 at least.
10 years at least. So I mean, we're trying, and we'll do more. In terms of foot patrols, we initiated that a few years ago. So they're on the 3rd Avenue, they're on Broadway, uptown. They stop in all the business. I don't know, Director, did you want to add anything or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think many of the things that you said, are valid concerns. Things that, we as Long Branch Public Safety are concerned about and try to address on a daily basis. One of the things I heard you say is about, traffic on 2nd Avenue and some of the streets. The answer would not be to widen streets. If you want to slow traffic down, you'd have to change the character of the road. You need to narrow streets. That will make people go slower. Wait, let me just finish. And you talk about areas like Third Avenue. Third Avenue is congested. Although we don't like the congestion, it slows people down. It stops people from speeding, which means that you don't have a lot of accidents and things like that in those particular areas. So if we want to slow traffic, we have to change the character of many of the roads, which will take a very long time to actually accomplish. But we have officers out there. We've recently purchasing new radar equipment as well, so that we can have more officers out there on the street with state-of-the-art radar equipment to stop speeders. But, you know, we need residents like yourself and others to continue to call us and talk to us and tell us what's happening and give us an opportunity to implement those changes. These things are going to take time. The issues that you're referring to are not Long Branch problems by themselves. I come from Teaneck, New Jersey, okay, 70 miles away from here. I was a town manager there. They're talking about the same exact thing. This is an issue all over our state, probably all over our country. We have cars that are different now, cars that are faster, cars that are quieter. There's a whole myriad of issues, you know, that go into why people are speeding. People are more distracted in their vehicles now more than ever. Our officers issue a lot of summonses for people using their cell phones, texting. So it's a lot of issues that we're in the process of addressing. So I'll give you my card. I'll give anybody here my card. My cell number's on my card. If there's an issue, you call me. If there's something that you observe right away on the street, call the police department, and they'll address it. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Pat Grant. I'm here too to talk about the accident that happened. I live on the corner of 2nd and Cottage, and excuse me, what I witnessed was a very horrific scene. This was the worst accident I've ever seen in my life, and little Victoria attended my school for 3 years. And the screaming and the blood, and it was horrific. I think something, yes, needs to be done on that corner because I've lived there for years. I've seen many, many accidents on that corner. People are speeding from Cottage Avenue Beach. They're coming right through the stop sign. They're not even looking where they're going. I've seen an accident a year or two ago where a car was speeding and flipped an ambulance over with people in it onto somebody's lawn. This accident was just the most tremendous thing, and it's shocked me since then. It's only been 10 days, but I work at the school where she was. I witnessed the mother hysterical crying when they tried to do CPR on her. I seen the little girl's face when her face and her head was smashed, and I'm not trying to be graphic, but this is something that really needs to be addressed. We lost a little 7-year-old girl senselessly. There is no need. A lot of it doesn't have to do with narrowing the streets or making them long. Speeding is the issue. It's the major issue. I sit outside on my front porch every day, and that's all I see coming down from that way from the beach. It's a non-stop thing. Is there anything that we can do about that?
Can I answer one thing?
Please.
Sure.
You know, on this particular accident, I don't want to go into the actual details of this accident because, you know, we feel for the family and we want to spare them. But speeding it wasn't the cause of this accident and the injury to those people.
Well, I've heard many things about it, so I can't speculate either.
No, I'm telling you as a person.
Okay.
That was not the factor here. I don't want to say exactly what it was, but it was not speeding.
But even so, like I said, I sit outside on my porch every single day, and I see it continuously.
Yeah.
I saw a car doing 25 down 2nd Avenue towards the hospital. Then I seen 2 cars speeding around that one car just to get ahead of them. It's non-stop.
Speeding is an issue, absolutely.
Major.
But in this particular incident, which is very unusual for Long Branch to have accidents this bad. Speeding was not a factor here.
But
This
I've watched
wasn't
the one
high speed.
accident where the person was speeding and knocked the ambulance onto someone's lawn. I saw that. I'm literally right there. I just think that we need to be more proactive, whether lights around the stop sign or something, because that seems to be a hot spot on that corner, and it's horrible.
Let's see what we can do. We all know that people use Second Avenue instead of going on Ocean Avenue,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so they're used to speeding on Ocean
Yes.
Avenue. They take shortcuts, and that's what's happening. So let's see what we can do to help it. I mean, I think we're all aware of it, and obviously, let's see what we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Teresa Fornicola, 41 Cottage Place. I'm also here in reference to the accident. I've been there for 15 years. I heard the horrific impact. I was in my backyard. It was awful. There are just numerous times that people are coming down off of Ocean Avenue onto Cottage, and they're flying. And if they're not residents, they're not going to see the stop sign, because a lot of times on the right-hand side where the stop sign is, we have a lot of traffic, and the summer's only going to get worse with the parking. And when you're going down to that corner, if there's one of those nice big vans there, you can't see the stop sign. Then on the southeast corner of Second and Cottage, the parking there, it needs to be extended back for the no parking. Me leaving my home tonight, when I got to the stop sign and stopped, I had to keep inching out and inching out. I'm in the middle of the roadway to see if there's a car coming down, because there's so many vans and SUVs and cars that are parked there that you can't see. So I am begging for you to please extend the no parking on that corner, and to also please, maybe you put 2 stop signs up, 1 on each corner, and also paint the road. I know you put the 25 mile per hour on Second Avenue, and that's great, but it's not going to help Cottage and Second. So if we could please paint the huge stop ahead on that road, that would be great. Okay?
Thank you. Can I ask you, do they, I was just curious, because where the yellow, where the painting is on the corner there.
Right.
In the summer, do people park there?
Yes.
So
Yes.
they don't respect the
Yes,
yellow
they park,
line at
yes.
all? So I mean, that's
Okay.
something, obviously.
Because
we
that's
can-
something, and there's a lot of times that, yes, I do see tickets on them, but then a lot of times there isn't. And it's really bad there on Cottage Place in the summer, with the parking, everybody wanting to get up to the beach.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's your Jim's mother. Yeah. How's it doing? Good. Great, great, yeah, doing good. You too.
Hi, Tom Fitzgerald, 7 Arthur Avenue.
Brian Green, 10 Arthur Avenue.
Mr. Mayor, council people, system, administration, thank you for your service and the time tonight. We're kind of talking about a similar issue, but it's more just on parking. And so we live on Arthur Avenue.
Could you raise that mic just a little bit?
Sure.
Thank you.
We live on Arthur Avenue, and it's a restricted parking area. So we're here tonight just to request a modification of that restriction. I've been there for 20 years, and previously we had restriction from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and you were provided 2 guest passes. A lot of the homes there don't have driveways. Recently, we're right next to the hospital. If you're not familiar where Arthur Avenue is, it goes from 2nd Avenue to Ocean Avenue directly from the emergency room. It's a small one-way street going east. But recently, due to the beach traffic, the hospital traffic, the town restricted the parking 24/7, but took away the guest passes. So we've run into the issue, which I think it might have been inadvertently, that we don't have guest passes for people that visit, the 20-so residents that live on Arthur Avenue, whether they're contractors, friends or just people visiting the elderly. So the request that we have is to provide guest passes. It's a
And
simple request.
We've provided a document with the clerk that shows that everyone on the street is asking for this. For instance, I know one of the residents, Celia's son Anthony, lived there his whole life and he got ticketed in front of his house. I got ticketed in front of my house. My mother-in-law waited because she saw police writing tickets and wouldn't get out of the car to say hi to her daughter. So we're just looking at it like we don't have a driveway. We depend on, you know, a family member coming to visit us to be able to park there. And we just think it's appropriate if we could put a sign in. When I did that and made a laminate, police officer said, we're still going to write a ticket. So even if we say, contact me at this number, I'm at 10 Arthur, visiting that house. So we were just looking to see if we could reinstate the parking passes for the homeowners or the renters of that avenue.
So, how you guys doing? Charles Shirley. What I can tell you is I was in traffic at the time before when we did this, and I don't have it with me, obviously, but I have a whole packet on why the change was made and a count of the amount of spaces available there. So I'll give you guys my card and you can contact me and I'll go over it with you. One of the biggest things, you know, it used to just be that Arthur Avenue was the only one that had this. And then as we started really investigating into it, there were people subletting their houses, renting their houses, and the guest passes they were keeping as homeowners that lived up north and then just parking there to go to the beach. And it's all self-admitted. We haven't, you know, so there were reasons more than what you're saying of why the guest passes were cut out, and there was no way for us to control where they were going to. As far as like contractors and service people and all that, if they're actively working, they're exempt from that. They can park there and they can't get a ticket. They just have to be in a commercial vehicle. But if you guys call me, I'll go over the whole thing with you and explain it to you. To give 2 passes to every resident plus 2 guest passes, there's not that many spots on the street. So now you're going to be paying for spots that we can't provide to you, which becomes an issue for us. But I'll sit down and I'll show it all to you and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah.
Every spot won't get utilized, all right? So like if you had 2 guest passes, you're not using it, it's just when you have guests there.
I totally understand. I understand.
Maybe during beach weekend.
Like I said, I'll go over all that with you. I will tell you also, though, we just, in some of the zoning stuff that we did, we made it easier to put in, because I've been dealing with 2 of your neighbors, easier for setbacks on your driveways to put them in there. So that is something that's coming up, too.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the street.
Thank you.
That's appreciated.
We'll touch base.
Yep. We'll touch base. Thanks.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
you
you.
for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Wanna- There you go. No, no
Jill,
problem.
Jill.
There you go. Just call me tomorrow. I'll be in all day tomorrow.
If this gentleman is leaving, can you leave me his number and name, and I'll reach out to him? I mean, I can see it offline if you want. Whatever.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch, requesting 1-minute notification. Mr. Raynone, your statements of ignorance and arrogance after I spoke. Your statement that land taxes are lumped into the overall pilot before being remitted to the city was absolutely false. You haven't a clue what I was talking about, and you don't even know what you're talking about. And that's why we have the mistakes on the agendas. You don't review the agendas. You don't review anything. This is why I'm always sourcing the clerk to make corrections on the department heads in this city. And fortunate for you, Mr. Raynone, because this council messed up on the dates this month. The 2nd and 4th Wednesdays you didn't follow. You did the 1st and 3rd Wednesday.
Okay.
Had the correction on Resolution 124, had that date stood tonight, you would have not been able to have adopted this budget until July because the clerk caught the mistake, as she caught others on the agenda. For that, I'm indebted to the clerk. Resolution 151, opening Adams Street for the 2023 summer season and designating it as a bathing or surfing beach. The resolution's improperly written, doesn't make sense. Lifeguards are only on duty on September 9, 10, 16, 17, 23, and 24. The bathing beach may be open on May 27, 28, 29, June 3rd and 4th, June 10th and 11th, and from June 12th to September 4th. But the sentence still remains. Lifeguards are only on duty September 9, 10, 16, 17, 23, and 24. Sunday, June 4th, lifeguards were on the beach with a pay booth, thus making it suspect as to what the September date for the lifeguards is. Removing beachgoers at 5 p.m. prevents them from even enjoying the hours in the evening at the beach. One can easily surmise that essentially this is a quiet de facto curfew benefiting Kushner, whose mansion towers over the access point and the federally replenished beach. As mentioned, a pay booth for what? What has been done to the Adams Street beach to make it more accessible? Where are the restrooms? 1 block south, there are no stairs to the regularly used beach for Pullman Avenue, with a storm fence that was used as an entrance barrier but has since been tossed aside. The bulk of beach parking on Pullman, with 4 spaces on Adams Street, is a joke. Now that you're opening up the beach. About 12 years ago, in a scam lawsuit that resulted in a settlement by Kushner and the city agreed to give a significant portion of Adams Street to Kushner for encroached landscaping. If the city wants to make Adams Street Beach a pay beach, the city must take back that land from Kushner for necessary beach parking on Adams Street. The city is required to file a municipal public access plan with NJDEP. Adams Street is on the municipal public access plan as an official public access point. The municipal public access plan is updated every 5 years. Adams Street was a free public access point, number 7 on the master plan's municipal public access plan as defined in the environmental resource inventory.
1 minute warning.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As of today, NJDEP has not consented to having this plan changed, but Council's going ahead and doing it anyway. Backwards junk government. I may also add Pullman Avenue Beach is filthy. Not raked the way Adams Street was. So just what exactly is the intent of this Adams Street? Very suspect, requesting a no vote on 151. You can't write more junk government than Resolution 151. You just can't.
I need a motion to close the public participation portion of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I will now ask Madam Clerk if there were any changes to the list of resolutions.
There were no changes.
Thank you. We can take the listed resolutions as a consent agenda. We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt is absent. Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes. There are no applications for the miscellaneous business for the good of the order. Councilman Dangler?
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Vieira?
Yes, good evening. I'd like to thank the students that came out today for the LGBTQ and the Portuguese American resolutions. They did a great job reading those resolutions. Also, I want to thank the people that came out with the concerns of the speeding, knowing that our public safety director is on it. And I want to thank the 2 chiefs in the back for showing up as usual. And good night.
Thank you. Councilwoman Selly?
I'd like to thank the 2 gentlemen who stayed till the end of the meeting. Okay, thank you very much. And for all the gentlemen in the audience, I would like to wish them a happy Father's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Plow?
I'll go along with what Councilman said. Gentlemen, thank you. I have a little statement here I'm going to read, so I appreciate that I'm reading it to somebody. But anyway, addressing some of the community concerns about overdevelopment, the City Council introduced new amendments this evening to several sections of the zoning ordinance. The changes are set to prohibit residential and commercial properties from being built too close to property lines and to the street. They'll reduce the density of development projects, stop developers and real estate speculators from taking advantage of the current zoning laws, and create more green open space throughout the city. Changes will be made to 8 subsections, eliminating exceptions to setbacks, adding walkways to the list of accessories on a residential property, omitting outdated districts, including an exception for off-street parking in the R2 or R4 zone district, lowering front yard setback standards in single-family residential zones, and adding standards to setbacks in central commercial zones. We've committed to modernizing the city, concentrating on the aesthetics, function, safety, and focusing on what will most benefit the community of Long Branch. Over the past few years, well-known vacant and dilapidated buildings have been demolished, including the Oceanfront Sea Verge, multiple buildings on the 3rd Avenue corridor, the old nursing home on Westwood and Bath, and the former Casey Jones restaurant. More abandoned buildings will be demolished in the future. But having better standards in place and requiring all building projects in Long Branch to follow improved standards is important in keeping the buildings safe and efficient. Resolutions have previously been passed by this council, reducing the density of allowable units per acre and eliminating garden apartments within Transit Village. The council has also taken measures to assure that affordable housing is provided through new development projects. The decaying properties all around Long Branch were an eyesore and a hazard that we were happy to see go. We understand that a balance is needed to make improvements to the city while controlling overdevelopment, and we think that these amendments are another step towards finding that balance. The zoning changes introduced tonight will need to be adopted at an upcoming council meeting. And again, thank you all for being here this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. And I too would like to thank everyone for their comments this evening and for attending the meeting as well. Mr. Martin, I'd like to thank you for all your hard work on the budget.
Thank you.
And we know a lot goes into it, many, many hours, and we'd like to thank you. And Director, thank you for all your hard work, these pop-ups, and we know it's not easy, and you're doing a great job, and thank you as well. And at this time, I would like to need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.